On today's episode of Titus and Tate, Mark Few is on C-SPAN.
Yes.
Jay Billis is tweeting.
Yes.
And people are pretending to have any idea what Title IX actually means.
Yes.
But they want to preserve the sanctity of it.
It goes all the way to the top.
And that can only mean one thing. That we are back talking about name, image, likeness debates.
Yes.
It's such an exciting time.
Will we just pay these players? We've been begging for it for, basically since we got on the air. The first thing we said was pay these kids.
Yep.
We are a players first podcast.
Yes.
But right now, we have a moment in time where the Senate is having hearings about
the United States Senate, by the way. Like if you're not up to speed on the news, will we say the Senate?
No, this is not Star Wars, but we're talking about the Senate.
This is not Condoleezza Rice and Mark Emmert and Mickey Mouse.
No, this is the real.
This is like the real, actual United States Senate. I think it's like a Senate committee, though, right? So
yeah.
What's the what is it? You just like handpick a couple of them, and
they're upset. By the way, the government is against the NCAA. Everyone is against the NCAA. Who would have thought?
Everyone is against everyone. Because like Mark Emmert is on an island in this deal, trying to like blame everybody and muddy the waters. Just like Mark Emmert is so badly just trying to
deflect,
filibuster. That's the word I was thinking of. He really is. He's deflecting. He's just trying. He's like, we're gonna take enough of the Senate's time. I'm gonna muddy the waters enough, and then I'm just gonna leave and hope that nothing was solved. And so far, so good. I will say that. So far, so good. We're going to do an update on what the name, image, likeness situation is.
Yes.
Because, God, we swear, this time...
it's going to change.
This time it's going to change, folks. This time it's happening. This time it's real. Also, we got to talk the playoffs a little bit. The Phoenix Suns are destroying my beloved Denver Nuggets.
Yes.
A team that I've fallen in love with. Jokic wins MVP, and... the Suns don't seem to give a damn, and they're up 2-0 on the Nuggets. So
it wasn't good when you had your head coach Mike Malone say, "This guy over here, that MVP, he's tired, he's worn out."
Yeah.
That was the first things that he said about his MVP, and I think you saw it last night. The MVP, the Joker himself, he's doing everything, and it's hard when you're playing a team sport to do everything by yourself. So.
We're gonna do a little playoff talk. Nets Bucks is tonight. Must win or can't lose for the Bucks. Must win or can't lose. Okay, all right.
Both.
We'll do a little playoff talk, but we're gonna talk mostly today about
NIL. We got Tom Izzo a shot at Coach K as well. We got to bring.
All right,
that
we'll
up.
sprinkle that in. We'll get to all of it, but first,
Woody Durham.
in case you missed it, yesterday being Wednesday, we recording this on Thursday afternoon / evening. Mark Few may have popped up on your social media feeds, on your news reports, on various, however you consume media. You may or may not have seen Mark Few not wearing a tie, which I thought was a power move, that he's going to Capitol Hill with no tie on. He says, I don't wear a tie when I'm coaching in the national championship. When I'm getting my brains beaten in the national championship, I'm sure as hell not going to wear a tie in front of you clods. So, no, not happening. But Mark Few goes and has become... Maybe this is the discussion we should start with. Mark Few is becoming the voice of college basketball, and this is interesting. In a vacuum, I think we should spend a little time talking about this. But when you also pair this with Gonzaga is now landing top recruits in the country, Jalen Suggs and then Chet Holmgren, which they've been landing awesome recruits forever, but now all of a sudden they are the recruiting powerhouse. Tate. Coach K is retiring. We'll spend a little time talking about that, by the way. We got to carve out a solid 45 minutes to pay K his respects. We have not done
every
that yet.
single episode.
As all this is happening, we have joked, maybe not joked, maybe it's getting more and more serious that Gonzaga might be the new Duke. Suddenly you look up, Mark Few is becoming the voice of college basketball.
Yes.
Is this the moment in time that has happened, that Mark Few is officially... The Gonzaga Bulldogs and Mark Few are officially the new Duke without having won a single national championship?
Yes.
It feels like it happened.
It was a very, very interesting situation because when I first heard that Mark Few was going to, have this conversation, go and report on his findings at Gonzaga, I was a little bit, when I heard it was Mark Few, I thought, well, maybe the NCAA is bringing Mark Few, or they want Mark Few because he's going to
He's
side
gonna be on
with
their
them.
side. Yeah,
Exactly.
that is interesting about Mark Few is that he
he's taking on the NCAA as, I mean, he is the little guy, right? I mean, you are literally Cleveland State in the Jerry Tarkanian conversation.
Yes.
You're not a blue blood, but also now you are a blue blood
the blue
because
blood.
you are now having the voice.
But Mark Few, as a human being, not as the representative of Gonzaga, just himself, I kind of don't know where he falls, like politically or anything else. Like he's
We
a
know
bit
he
of a
loves
wild
fly
card.
fishing and he loves pickleball.
He's a big fly fisherman in Eastern Washington, so that kind of like paints a stereotype. So like I think he thought like he was going to go up there and be like, in fact, I think we should take more
serious.
rights away from players.
That
and he does
was-
the opposite, and I think like
That
everyone.
was the thing in the back of my, when he first started his comments, I was like, is Mark Few just going to come out here and just ride hard for the NCAA? But luckily, and I mean, pretty much the entire process of this has been reprimanding Mark Emmert. I mean, it was scolding. I think that's the best word to use. It was a scolding of the NCAA. And the whole time that they were getting scolded, Mark Emmert's getting scolded, they look to be shocked by it. You know what I mean? They look to be like, this is not part of the script. What are you guys talking about up there? This is what we do. This is us. This is how we've always done
Mark
things.
Emmert was turning to Congress to help him. Like Mark Emmert was, as everyone's attacking him, he's like, yes, I understand. Like I need to, but you guys, I need help figuring out how I want to fix this. I'm on your side. How do I fix? Congress, can you please help me fix this? And Congress is like, why? Why do we have to help? Why can you not fit? That is the situation we found ourselves in. And if you're asking yourself why now, why? First of all, this has been a conversation for God knows how many years at this point. It is the story that will never end. But the impetus behind the Senate hearing now, Tate, is that my understanding is that on July 1st, various states around this country have enacted some sort of legislation that
19 states.
19 states.
Yes.
That players can make, but the state laws will be that.
We remember Gavin Newsom. He went on the shop. He signed.
Funny enough,
the California
Mark
law.
Few told Gavin Newsom back then, "Stay in your lane." Like, shut the hell up, bitch. Like, I think that was his.
I think that was the quote. That came out.
No, Mark Few didn't love that Gavin Newsom was doing this. So that's what I mean. That's why he's a wild card.
Yes.
But I think, like in retrospect, he was saying that because he was like, "This isn't a states' rights issue. Like, we don't need the more." And this is exactly the problem. And maybe this is why Mark Few. He swerved Mark Emmert because what Mark Few was saying is that it's a disastrous system to have a system where the schools in California the players can make money off their name, whereas the schools in say like Tennessee can't, but the schools in Indiana can and the schools in Nebraska can't. Like that's a disaster. So what we need is so Gavin Newsom, shut up, go sit down, do something else with your time. Let's figure it out like a national.
NIL bill.
Sweeping bill, whether it's Congress or the NCAA. And Mark Emmert said it's definitely going to have to be Congress because it's not going to be me. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and and even at times when he was getting, poked about the fact that the NCAA is making, he wants to have, basically he wants to put stopgaps on how much money you can make as athletes, right? So that's one layer of this. Also, he kept reiterating that they want a national NIL law. That was what he kept saying. But the reason he's saying that is because all the state versions of this, some of them are more sweeping than other ones. And he wants a very succinct, this is what it is, this is how it looks like, and also it's capped. Yeah. And so in California, it's not. So like, Connecticut, I don't think it is either. So there's certain states where it's a little bit different. They said that they want to keep college athletes from being employees of their schools. That is one of the big things that he was trying to hammer home. And he wants to provide limited antitrust protection from future litigation. So this is what.
And don't forget Title IX. He wants to preserve Title IX because that's important. You got to throw that in there because Title IX has become the First Amendment of college sports debates where. No one seems to have any idea what it actually is. Like the bullet point, which is like women and men must have equal opportunities. Yes. But then the application of it, no one has any idea. But that you can just like throw it out there and say
it's a good look.
This is a violation of Title IX, or like this is not a
Yes.
And then it shuts everything down. Like someone could like tweet at us and be like, "Your podcast violates Title IX," and I would like freeze and be like,
I think he's right.
Does it? I'll start Googling. I'll be like, I don't think I know. What
no, I mean, that
so
is
Mark
it.
Emmert's like, we must protect Title IX, and everyone's like, I think we would. I think
we definitely would. But Mark, what are your intentions? Because that was the other part. Whenever any sort of senator, like Cory Booker is the one who's leading, the national NIL bill. He's the one that's putting it on the floor. So when any of these other senators were coming at Mark Emmert, asking questions about why they didn't do this or that, he basically said, well, that's not my decision. Yeah. That's the Board of Governors. And I love the idea of the NCAA. Like, the NCAA is always this ominous present that, the omnipresent situation where you, like, point to it and you blame it. You're like, the NCAA. But the NCAA is made up of people that are, working for the university. We've said this multiple times. But I love that within the NCAA, they even have someone to blame. You know what I mean?
Mark Emmert.
Mark Emmert's like, no, he's like, I got the board of governors. Everyone has someone else to blame. There's always a different party to blame.
I'm going to make a big time swerve here and say that Mark Emmert is unbelievable at his job.
Yes.
And the fact that the public hates this man so much means that he's doing exactly what
it's
he's
Roger
supposed to be
Goodell.
doing.
It's Roger Goodell. Like, the reason the NFL owners love Goodell is because they're like, people hate you, great.
Yeah.
Now we do whatever we want.
Goodell is amazing at his job too.
Yeah. Take all the hate. Make $40 million a year. Get hated on. We'll do what we want over here.
It is true. Those two guys get killed all the time as like two of the worst leaders, and like the institutions they're running.
Yes.
Are like
deserve all the blame.
Well, not even that. They're just like two institutions that are like undeniable in this country, in the world of
in sports.
In sports, like those are makes you think.
It's funny how it works.
So yeah, this was not. We should issue a correction because I think at the top we said that this was. They were speaking to the Senate. This was a Senate committee, right? This was not like you did not have the full attention
of 100
senators.
Of everyone sitting around, all of our 100 senators looking at Mark Emmert
in the chamber,
and just scolding
in the Senate
him,
chamber,
and just saying you're bad.
And
you're wrong. That's it. And there's like probably 40 of them over there. Like, Mark, thumbs up, good job, buddy.
So what is going to come of this? I guess would be a question I certainly would have, and
I think Mark Emmert would have the same question.
One way or another, there's going to be name, image, likeness legislation.
Yeah, it already is. In 19 states.
Yes. Yeah. So one way or another, nationally, this is going to happen because, as Andy Katz pointed out, I think the last time he came on, which Andy, come back on the show,
please, Andy. Please.
He's out there playing tennis.
With his AI sleeve.
As Andy pointed out, the schools that are in states that don't have name, image, likeness are going to lose their mind if this passes, and they're gonna go nuts. So something's gonna have to be done.
Well, it's like the competitive recruiting advantage. I mean, that's really what the underlying part of all this is, right?
So the game will change. Everything will be different. And I guess at this point, Mark Emmert is just put in a situation where he's trying to just preserve as much of the old system as he possibly can. He's on a sinking ship. There's a bunch of holes in the ship, and he's only got so many fingers to plug the holes, and he's just going around trying to keep the ship up. Is that a good analogy?
And the board of governors are just looking at him laughing as
I just picture Mark Emmert in like a rowboat in a old timey cartoon.
Oh no!
And he plugs that one, and then another one shoots up.
It's like an old Buster Keaton short.
Do we need to suss out the intricacies of it? Because I think in the macro picture is that this is going to happen. This is we are stepping into a new world of college sports, and whether it's better or not better, I don't know. But it has to be done. I think that's the thing. It has to be done.
It's inevitable.
Whether this like makes whether we look up in 5 years and we're like, man, college basketball is more fun than it was, or it's like, wow, this is a disaster because you have a team where, say like I don't know, Indiana comes to mind. Trace Jackson Davis, he's making like $600,000 from Ken Nunn Law Firm.
Yeah.
And they're paying him to do commercials there in Bloomington. And then you got like Trey Galloway, who like nobody wants to give any money to. And he's driving his hand-me-down beater into practice, and
he's got no snacks.
No snacks. And Trace Jackson Davis is pulling a Ferrari in, and like all of a sudden you look up and like college basketball is like very bizarre, where like locker rooms are splintering because guys are rich as hell and other guys are like going and getting swipes.
It's like a caste system.
Yeah, and it's a disaster. Maybe that could happen. I don't know. The point is, this has to be done. Like whether that is what it becomes, or whether it's like we look up in 5 or 10 years, we're like, yeah, in the end, that's kind of didn't matter. It's the exact same sport, it's the exact same thing, and now guys are just making a little money on the side. I don't know where we're gonna land, Tate, but I know
think we're gonna land on the ladder of what you said.
Yeah, I think so too. But either way, this has to be done. There's no two ways about that.
I think doing a Michael Jordan Nissan ad while you play at the University of North Carolina is probably as far as we get into this weird weed of this new college basketball, where you're just kind of like, what? But then at the same time, if you can sell your jersey, if you can, sign autographs and make money after an event, and it's all like we talked about, you're gonna have to have someone to be like a broker, an agent, or
you're gonna have
like,
guys signing with agents.
Yeah, like
but they're gonna try to like not let guys sign with agents,
because
probably.
especially not agents that are like NBA
types.
But then also you would want them to be with them
you would,
because then it starts that relationship, and also you're gonna have.
You would much rather than be with NBA guys than like someone's shady uncle. So like let them go with the NBA guys. But then if you do that, like the waters are muddier.
Yeah.
And
you don't want a PJ Harrison with Fats Thomas situation where you're just like, I guess he's supposed to be with him.
Yeah, Fats is my agent. You're like, that guy is your agent? He's like, yeah. No, you're right. And I think the other issue that coaches may or may not bring up, or people will, a potential downside would be these extracurriculars, if you will, which is funny because basketball is literally an extracurricular activity for sport.
I've also seen a lot of people talking about Olympic sports, you know, like how basketball is an Olympic sport.
yeah, that is true.
I just want to point that out.
That is true.
I see a lot of people saying, like, what about the Olympic sports? Like, yeah, basketball
Larry
is
Scott
included.
takes over as Pac-12 commissioner. He's like, we're going to be great at Olympic sports. And everyone's like, God damn it, Larry, basketball is an Olympic sport.
Please.
Please.
DeAndre Ayton.
We don't care about tennis. Tennis isn't even an Olympic sport, is it? For God's sakes.
I mean, seriously.
What was I saying? Oh, one thing that might be an issue. I don't know if it's an issue, but is going to be something that I foresee happening. And it'll be great content. It'll be great fodder. I could see coaches losing their mind over it. Is like guys. I don't know. This is probably an extreme, but guys show up to practice late because they were shooting a car dealership commercial. Or like that becomes like the guys are looking around like, all right, the schools aren't going to pay me, because I do think Mark Emmert is going to be successful in that pursuit. That to keep these guys as non-employees from the schools.
Yes, they will not have like a tenured situation with.
I should say I agree with that. I don't think college athletes should be considered employees. I don't think. I think at that point what you have created is professional sports, and that sounds great for the players and players' rights. And if you're a proponent of players' rights, it's what you want. But that really would sink the entire enterprise.
Now we're competing with the NBA. Yeah.
Now you're directly competing with the NBA.
Yep.
So I don't think that's going to happen. But they will allow guys to make money on the side, and what could be interesting to me is that these players look up after they've been on campus for 7 months, and they're like, now hang on a second, I play at Michigan State. Tom Izzo has me practicing 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
He has paid me $0. I understand that he's telling me the scholarship is worth a lot of money and that this is a great institution. Who cares?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
if I go show up at this place, this car dealership for 2 hours, I get paid $10,000.
So now all of a sudden the car dealership's saying we booked this production company to come shoot a commercial at this time. Tom Izzo's telling me he wants me to practice. I have to decide. I'm gonna go to the car dealership.
And everyone is.
Yeah, everyone is.
And so like that understood level, it does put college coaches in the NBA coach sort of lane, which is, I am your coach to a certain extent, right? Like NBA coaches know that. They're like, I can coach you to a certain moment.
But I'm no longer. What it is removing is for forever. College coaches have not just been your coach; they've been like the father figure. They've been the mentor. They've been like, I tell you every time you fart on this campus, it's because I told you to.
You're allowed
for 4 years. Yeah, I will give you permission to do that. That's going out. They're going to have to carve a large part of that out and say like, all right, you're free to do what you want. And I think some of the pushback is going to be that. I mean, the example I gave out, I just threw out is very extreme. Like, I don't think.
Yes,
I don't think that's going to be an epidemic where guys are not showing up for practice. I'm just, throwing out fun hypotheticals here.
Well, that's also why we've had coaches, right? Or at least when Roy Williams retired, there was a lot of people that said it may be the game with all the changes that are coming. He wants to get out of it. Coach K, this is his final year. Does he want to get out of it? And it does make a lot of sense because Coach K will tell you when you can fart, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is Coach K. Like, I hate to tell you, if you're at home, you think Coach K hugs these kids and he tucks them in at night and tells them he loves them. That's the opposite of who he actually is, right?
Yeah.
He tells them what they do.
Yeah.
And that ethos, that caricature, that whatever you want to call it, that may not work in this new world of free enterprise capitalism. That's going to be happening.
Yeah.
Because when Coach K says that and you say no, it used to be, you're putting on Timberland boots and you're running, Cameron Indoor for the night by yourself in the dark. That's what the night looked like. But if you got to go show up to a club in Raleigh, you know what I mean? You're not going to be running bleachers for Coach K. So like that. That is where I find it fascinating. That's where if you're
showing up at club, dude, I didn't even think about that. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Club appearances.
Of course. Of course.
Dude, can you imagine?
It's going to be crazy. I do think that there's going to be, at the start of it, there's going to be a lot of just throwing shit at the wall. You know what I mean? And then I think it's going to taper off and get to more of a consistent level. But you're also going to have the people that are boosters are surrounding some of these programs, like a Sport Durst, for example, in North Carolina. I mean, he's a car dealer. You know, he's like a caricature himself. So, like, he's got his own, like, he might be mentoring these you know, like, you're just you're adding into a lot of characters.
I think this is the point, and if if I'm devil's advocate and I'm trying to defend the status quo and whatever else, and again I say this is necessary, this must be done. Like,
yes.
So I'm not saying
we're talking about hypotheticals.
I do believe that there will be a lot of cautionary tales early that come out of this, out of the gate. Like you said, it didn't even cross my mind about like strip club promotions. Yeah. And that's why like Emmer and the powers that be. I mean, obviously the cynical take on this is that they're trying to keep the system so they can keep as much money and not pay the players.
Which is true.
Which is definitely true.
You know what I mean?
But then even when that part gets broken down and they're like, all right, fine, we'll do the thing, but we want to have conditions. Part of it is because of that. I think like that is their nightmare. That is when you're thinking of these hypotheticals. What I brought up about like guys missing practice because they're shooting commercials, guys being paid fees to go make appearances at strip clubs. Which, like, if it is a free capitalist enterprise system here where you're like free to do whatever you want, outside of your basketball team, guys will do that. There will be at least one player that does that.
PJ Harrison would have done that. That's all I wanted to do.
PJ Harrison's coming back to school to do that.
I would say he was about 7 years too late. He was right on time.
And that is, in the eyes of the people that run higher education, that is an absolute nightmare. In the eyes of you and I, it's like, whatever. And I think, like, this is why it's necessary, though, is that even if that happens, it's not, I don't think it's your place as Mark Emmert, as athletic directors, as coaches, to stop it from like, you know?
Yeah.
I think at a certain point, you have to give agency to the players, and if they want to go down that route and ultimately, I mean, not doing one appearance at a strip club is going to ruin your life, but if like you want to make bad decisions for your brand, like, because, you know, if guys do, you know, if that's what you do in college with your free time is you're making strip club appearances and making money on the side, I would like to think that the NBA scouts are going to probably not love that.
No,
so, like,
they're writing down shades of Lou Will.
Yeah. So like, it's probably going to come back to bite you, but if you want to do that, you should have the freedom to do that.
Exactly.
And let that happen. But I do think some of those growing pains or some of these cautionary tales are going to happen early and often, and we'll be here every step of the way to talk about that.
And I was going to say, as far as a content aspect of this, I mean, there could be a chance that we have a kid that, let's say, for the car dealership example, he chose the dealership, and then the coach chose not to start him the next game. And then you have fans that are losing their minds.
Because the coach has an agreement with the competing car dealers.
It's like, you went to the wrong one. That's my guy. So you know, like that could be conversation. You know what I mean? That will be. You talked about fodder. I mean, you and I. This is going to be a field day because there is going to be so many growing pains, and there's going to be so much of a. It all depends how this all gets, you know, marked up, because the NCAA is going to try to write in every single detail of what can't be done.
There's no players union. The NBA has a players union where they negotiate that stuff where like you can or cannot.
Yes.
You know.
And now
there is no players union.
The players that are doing the deals need actual representation of real agents, which they are banned from talking to under the current rules.
This is so stupid.
You know what I mean? Like they lose their eligibility by talking to these guys that they now need to negotiate these deals. Like it's all ridiculous.
It's gonna be so fun.
It's so stupid. I mean, it really is. Like, that's why the committee meeting itself and Mark Emmert sitting there. You know, one of the, I can't remember the senator's name, but you know, she was running through. She's like, "You guys make billions of dollars. Yeah. You know, and you guys don't have any infrastructure here." And he's just like, "No."
Nah, not really.
Nah, and not looking to build any. Actually, if it were up to us, I don't know why we're here. That was pretty much his stance.
It's worked pretty well for us this entire time. So why would we change?
Yeah,
anything?
excuse me,
ma'am.
What?
Number one, how dare you?
Yeah, that's pretty much the reaction from Mark Emmert and the Board of Governors by proxy.
Dude, my mind is just going to like. Joey Brunk tweeted out links to fleshlights.
I mean, dude,
this is
cameos,
gonna be
cameo. That's going to be a huge thing. People before a rivalry game, North Carolina fans paying, Cam John or whoever, or paying some current player to say something bad about the Duke player, and then that being a cameo, and then it going out. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things.
It's gonna be so.
There's so many things.
We should do that, by the way.
I know, it's a good idea.
We should book college players.
It's a good
on
idea.
cameo.
I googled the NCAA Board of Governors, and no, they won't tell me who they are.
We should book all the Duke players. Like that should be.
Joey Baker.
I still think that's a great idea. Is for your dad to. I guess the time is up now because guys are gonna be able to make money. But your dad to infiltrate Duke and just like find ways to pay players.
Yeah.
Pay all the Duke players.
Yeah.
And then. But now that game's up,
Or just come out publicly and say you did. You know what I mean?
I've been paying.
You know the game plan. You're like, I've been buying houses in Trayburn for the past 15 years for Duke players.
Oh man, Billis is having a fun time with this.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because
Please.
Jay Billis, this is what Jay Billis lives for. He lives for the moral high ground, and we love.
No, hang on. I want to stop you here. I'm pro Jay Billis.
We are, but
okay.
I was gonna say
I just want to make this clear because
we love Jay Billis.
We're gonna go after Billis a little bit.
We're not going after him. Someone else went after him.
Someone else.
We're
the reason we're bringing this up is because Arkansas's AD. What's the guy's name? I wrote it down. Hunter Yurachek.
Yurachek.
Yeah, Hunter Yurachek.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Was going after Billis on Twitter, and I caught our attention. And it was funny. Okay, go ahead. I just wanted to make I didn't want to get too far down the road. Where Billis someone's clipping this.
In 2014,
it's a
Jay Billis signed a contract with ESPN through 2023. And allegedly, it's, it's 7 figures, right?
Yeah, hold on. That's 2 commas.
2 commas.
Yeah, okay.
I'm talking 2 commas.
Wait, yeah, okay.
Yes. Yes. Jay Billis, right? We love Jay Billis. We appreciate Jay Billis. He is a guiding light.
Anytime we talk this way, something bad's coming. And we love.
Look, with all due respect.
We love Houston. We loved Houston's team this year.
They're so good.
But they were frauds, and I think everyone does.
Jay Billis lived for this hearing. Jay Billis lived for NIL. Jay Billis lives for the conversation about players being, basically.
The intersection of legalese and college sports is where Jay Billis shines, is because all of us are morons, and especially those of us in media. I mean, I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit and let everyone at home listen.
We are not lawyers.
We are all idiots. Every single one of us. Every single one of your favorite media people that sits in front of a microphone and talks about sports, they're idiots. And Jay Billis is not. Jay Billis is a law degree, so anytime an issue like this comes up, he's like, this is my time to shine.
Yes.
Because all these idiots have no idea what they're talking about. I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me, jump in here. Is basically Jay Billis's jumping off point. And in general, it's always about the fact that we are exploiting. Exploitation is probably the term.
He called it a civil rights issue.
Yes.
Yes. He said this is a civil rights issue.
Exploitation to the premium, the most you can ever imagine. So that's what he is saying. All times, but regardless, this all comes up in the hearing yesterday. Jay Billis takes a stance. He tweets to the world, waiting for all of us morons, like you said, to come and say, Jay, thank you for explaining this. Jay,
tell me how to feel.
I now get it. I understand it, Jay. And what happened was quite the contrary.
Yeah.
Because, again, someone else knew that 7 figures were coming to Jay Billis.
Yeah, so basically, Arkansas, like Billis tweeted it's wrong,
as
he does.
It's wrong.
And pointed out that of all the stipulations that Emmert has in place about capping how much money players can make, or having all these caveats of what the name, image, likeness world would look like, Bill has pointed out correctly, I might add, that Mark Emmert never acknowledged capping coaches' salaries. He never acknowledged capping his own salary. He never said that we should put limitations on what the coaches and the quote-unquote adults, even though everyone is an adult, everyone's over 18 years old.
The Mark Emmert term was guardrails.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he doesn't want guardrails for the quote-unquote adults.
Yes.
In this enterprise.
He just wants all the money.
He wants it for the kids. So Jay called this out, and then Arkansas's AD was like, I couldn't help but notice that when you were saying no guardrails for the administrators or coaches or anything else, you did not mention the broadcasters, and pointed out that Jay is making, as you said, double commas. He's making 2 commas on
this
his.
Is allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes.
For talking about college sports. And I don't really know how to feel about that, because that's like what I aspire to do as well. So like, I don't want to pile on too much.
No,
here, but also,
I was gonna say the other part.
I thought the
of
whole
this,
thing was hilarious. That the Arkansas AD was just. And then all the Arkansas fans are going nuts. Like
It just comes back. It comes back to like we were just talking about. It's Michael Scott in The Office when we're all just standing. We have a standoff right now where it's like every single person is pointing fingers at each other, and every time that someone tries to jump on the moral high ground, there is a reason to bring them back down into the
as
shit.
all the fingers are being pointed, as the water's getting muddy, Mark Emmert is tiptoeing backwards with the bag out the back door and then running.
Yes.
And no one saw him. No one saw it happen.
Yes, Coach K's over here doing his farewell tour. We're all distracted, and Mark Emmert's running away in the night.
And then putting out, and then he left a statement as he ran that just said, like, we'll revisit this in 6 months.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. But
sorry. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And Jay Billis, look, we're on the same side. We're not making seven figures, but we are also broadcasters that are a part of the game. You know?
I want to defend Billis because all Billis wants is just a free market. He's like, yeah, no shit. Like, I'm making a ton of money.
Yeah.
I have an Under Armour deal. Every time you see me on anything, I'm
You
wearing
see it?
Under Armour.
UA.
You understand how this works. I want the same for the players, so I don't think that's hypocritical, right?
I think he's right.
But I also love that the AD is throwing. I just love that's. I love everything. I love everything about this story.
And we should point out Arkansas in general. I mean, with Sam Pittman, their football coach. I mean, Sam Pittman is a great character. I love Coach Pittman. And with the Must Bus, like Arkansas,
what's going on with this baseball situation, dude? Like I'm slow. Are they at the College World Series yet?
I think so.
They're making their way to the College World Series.
I think they're climbing there. Yeah,
okay,
we're in the Super Regionals.
Google it right now. What's Arkansas situation?
They're playing in the Super Regional against NC State.
Super Regionals is just like the
Super Regional is leading into
the problem with baseball
Omaha.
is that there's like 7 levels of regionals. There's pre-regionals. There's regionals.
Well, there's the ACC tournament, or for usual. It's like the ACC tournament, then you have your regional, then you have your Super Regional, and then you go to Omaha.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. You can't. That's too, like I can't suss all that out. I don't know what's what. You know.
Yeah.
You can't have regionals and super regionals. That makes no sense. You have to have sectionals and regionals. You have to have different terms. You can't do like, this is for the regional championship, and if you win this, you go to super regionals.
Yes.
Because then, like, if I'm new to the sport, I'm thinking, what's after super regionals? Like super duper regionals? Where does it end, Tate? It ends in Omaha, as we know, but I don't know.
Well, the funniest part about super regionals is that they started in like 2000. So when I was covering baseball, I had the same thing. You know, I was like, what's happening here? Like, now we're doing what? Now we're going here. And it just started like 20 years ago, but people talk about it as if it could never change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, you know how baseball works. Everything is a tradition.
It's true.
Like,
yeah.
Even pine tar, they're like, why can't we just make a sticky substance that everyone approves and that we let the pitchers use? They're like, no. Tradition says we use pine tar and we cheat, you idiot. Also, a little bit of shaving cream.
Moises Allou's like, can I get some for my calluses? And they're like, no, pee on your hands, goddammit. That's
how we do.
That's how we do things.
That's what I think College World Series. But NC State plays at Arkansas June 11th tomorrow. So there you go.
And what happens?
Super
like,
regional. It's a three
again,
games.
this is the other confusing part, is that the College World Series, I think, like, I've watched enough to know that like multiple teams make the College World Series, but I think the average sports fan hears a team makes the College World Series, they're one of the final 2 teams left in the country. That is not the case.
Yeah.
There's like 8 or something. I don't know. It's all
8.
too much.
It's 8. Yeah, and then you go there, and then you get in the losers bracket. You know what I mean?
The reason I brought this up is because we were talking about Arkansas sports, and I have not been watching a ton of the baseball, the college baseball, but I have been paying enough attention for it to come into my purview that like the Arkansas fans are out of their minds for their baseball program.
Absolutely.
Waving flags in the it looks like a European soccer scene.
Their athletics department is on fire right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything is
and
turning
we called
up
this
Arkansas.
when Musk came on the show first. I pointed out all the billionaires, the ties that they have
Jerry
down there.
Jones.
The Walton family. What were the other ones? There's like some meat packet. Who's the meat? The Dyson?
Yeah, maybe.
The Tyson.
Tyson chicken? Okay, there you go.
So they're Arkansas people too, right?
Those are 3.
And then like one of the there are more. All the Arkansas fans will let us know.
John Daly.
John Daly,
I mean,
probably
that
not
counts.
a billionaire, but
Billionaire personality.
close enough. Anyway, the game has changed. This changes everything. College basketball, as you know, it is dead, folks. And
yeah, R.I.P.
Mark Emmert is holding the knife, I think. So Mark Few is holding the knife. Who's holding the knife?
I think
don't
Mark
know.
Few is holding the knife, and he's also looking over to make sure it's okay. You know what I mean? He's like gave a thumbs up to all the other blue blood coaches that like Bill Self.
Like it was
sitting over
self-defense,
there.
right? It was self-defense. I'm good, right? Like I'm not gonna.
Bill Self's like, good job.
And Mark Emmert's looking at the cops like, you're gonna arrest him, right?
college basketball, again, is dead, as we all know. But also, is it? Because Tom Izzo is still in the game. And For now. And he was asked on a radio show, Stoney and Jansen in Detroit. This is the best part about these coaches, right, is like most of the things that get aggregated. I know people hate aggregators. That's like the term. Don't aggregate my quotes. Most 9 times out of 10 is when these coaches go on local radio shows and they get asked from the local diehards, and they have to kind of give them something. They can't. It's
always an environment where you feel like nobody's listening.
Exactly.
And that's when they get you. That's how they get you.
And that's when it ends up on 247 Sports and is all over the world. And so first and foremost, to Tom Izzo, I know that he said this probably jokingly. I know he said this thinking, again, no one's listening, especially not Coach K, but we were listening. Yeah. And he said, he was asked about his retirement. He said, when I do it, I'm just leaving. And I think that's all you need to hear.
Was he asked this, or was he asked specifically, how are you going to retire? Mm-hmm. Or was it?
He was asked about K. So Coach K, he was asked, basically the question started, Coach K's retiring, what about you? When is your time? And what he said was, it's interesting, guys, because you get asked those questions. I say, hell, K got 8-9 years on me, so I got plenty of time. He said the day I don't feel like flying to Vegas or Orlando, that's when I know that like it's basically over for me. So Izzo kind of has all these, and then he says like, but when I do it, I'm just leaving, which says basically I am not going to get Nike to give me a year-long farewell tour where everyone gives me flowers and I sniff them.
Tom Izzo is the type to make this decision in the middle of the season too.
To
make it maybe at halftime. Who's the guy that played for the Bills that retired at halftime? Who was that guy? Do you remember that story?
Oh man, that was amazing. Please look that up.
People are gonna kill me for not remembering.
That was incredible. Who was that? I was like, in my head it's Brandon Tate, but it wasn't Brandon Tate.
Vontae Davis.
Vontae Davis.
When he retired,
one of the greatest corners of all time, one of the greatest Hard Knocks characters of all time. Had a great time with the Colts.
Vontae Davis explains why retiring mid-game was the right decision.
Dude, he was so hilarious on Hard Knocks in practice. That was when Joe Philbin was coaching the Dolphins, and basically Vontae Davis was like asking for a trade at practice.
That is Tom Izzo. When he says like, I'm just gonna leave, he doesn't mean like at the end of a season. Tom Izzo is gonna just like he's gonna be down 17 at halftime against Purdue in West Lafayette, and he's just gonna get an Uber to the airport.
Yeah, well, I think I figured out. Well, we all know what the real number is. Number 2. He's going for number 2. He's going for the second national championship to say that the Flintstones wasn't a fluke. We are this premier program. We are the premier program in Michigan in the Big Ten. We're gonna win our second championship. I'm not sure that that's gonna happen right before he leaves, but I figured out what he's actually going for. This is the real number. So he has 643 victories at Michigan State. Big Ten victories.
Yeah.
Bob Knight has 659.
Oh,
if
so
he gets
16?
to 660, Big Ten wins. That's probably 2 seasons, maybe 1 great season.
Yeah.
He gets past Bob Knight, the winningest coach in Big Ten history, 2 seasons, and then boom, he leaves.
You think he's got 2 seasons left?
I think
is this a scoop?
No, this is not a scoop. But based on the numbers that I'm crunching right now, I think he's trying to get the most Big Ten wins. Because it's good for the Big Ten, too, right? When you talk about our winningest coach, it's probably better to have Izzo.
Is it better to have Izzo than Knight?
Yes. From a PR standpoint.
Yeah.
Probably now.
Yeah.
At a time, obviously, Bob
I think
Knight.
you're right.
But I think when Izzo leaves, you take that record. The Big Ten network, everybody, they give you the thumbs up on the way out.
I'm sort of surprised it's Knight, to be honest. Even though Knight is the best coach in Big Ten history, I'm surprised it's not. It feels like something like Gene Katie would have the record for. That we'd be seeing that. I guess if that was the case, we would see that graphic.
I feel like Coach Titus just fell out of his chair thinking that Gene Katie had more wins.
If that was the case, we would see that graphic from at Boiler Ball.
Oh my God! Every day, every day. Big Ten stat of the day. Remember, Coach Katie owns the Big Ten.
I guess you're right. Yeah, Izzo's gonna get that, but it's got to be the national champ. That's really what
he wants. Number 2.
Yeah,
he really wants. But do you think number 2 is actually going to happen?
No, it's not.
Exactly.
No, it's never happened for the Big Ten again. And I think Juwan Howard Juwan Howard is so stupid. He believes that he could win a national title in Michigan, and you can't, Juwan, because I'm not saying you're not good enough to. I'm saying that's how it works for Big Ten.
Can we quickly tangent and just say that Juwan Howard is up for every NBA job?
Well, that's what I'm saying is Juwan Howard will eventually take one of those jobs when he has the epiphany that you just simply cannot win national championships in the Big Ten. It can't happen. And it's not because your program can't be good. You could have the single best program in the country year in and year out. Gonzaga should join the Big Ten. honestly, in that regard. I think they'd fit in perfectly.
So we do a Big Ten update this year instead of the Pac-12 update, and we just have Gonzaga in it.
We just do like the Big Ten update should just be national title odds. Like
Yes.
who's
got the best odds?
Who's got the best odds?
And then we laugh at it.
And then we pick it apart and we're like, there is a 0% chance Michigan State's winning it this year.
Or Indiana.
Like Purdue has expectations, and that is a dangerous spot to be in. Purdue is going to be top 10 probably to start the season.
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe top 5, depending on how
I've seen
good
them.
the PR
I've seen
spin, how good
Purdue
the
put out they're
propaganda.
going to be a top 5 team.
Yeah, how
which
good
means top 10. Yeah.
If Purdue wants to turn up the propaganda, I'm sure they could get people to vote them top 5 preseason. But if I'm a Purdue fan, I do not want the propaganda. I do not want any expectation. This would terrify me.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Purdue's going to be one of the teams this year that's going to have they're going to be a Big Ten update. We'll do an update. We'll just be like, can Purdue win the national championship? And the answer's probably not.
But it is true. Like Carson Edwards. I mean, not to say Purdue was going to go on the same path as Virginia, but like they were on the verge of beating. If they beat Virginia, things go their way.
Explain to Purdue fans forget what happened. Explain to them what happened.
I'm just saying
how
like,
it fell apart for them. In
it was so
2019.
close. It was so close.
They forget.
It was so close.
They just blocked it out, and now.
Oh man.
No, I think that's when Juwan Howard decides he's going to the NBA. Is when he doesn't realize that yet, but some of the old weathered guys have figured it out, and I think Izzo has figured it out, but he's like just crossing his fingers that. But that's where when you're talking about guys retiring, I think that's you have to start filling in the blanks with like what else is there for them, and it's easy to just pick every single coach and say they want to win one more national championship, but I don't think that's even necessarily true because, in Izzo's case, maybe
Izzo has to in his mind. He really does.
I guess like Cal, Izzo, and Self, they all have one, and maybe they need another one, but I really feel like if like Cal wins another one, he's just like, all right, now that I'm at the top of the mountain, I want to stay here for as long as possible. I want to come back for another year.
Yeah.
Not that Cal's even close to retiring, but you know what I'm saying?
I think Cal is literally one.
I think he's wired that way.
I think that is going to be the legacy of Kentucky when he leaves. You know what I mean? That's going to be the headline that they put in the Lexington, newspaper that says "one and done," and it's Cal retires.
Cal's won.
And he won one championship.
One national championship. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think Izzo, I really, really want Izzo to win another national championship. I think he deserves. I mean, think about the final, 2005, 2009. I mean, we can run all the way up. I mean, there has been so many opportunities. Even 2009. I know North Carolina beat them in the title game, but it felt like that year with Detroit and the collapse. Like it just felt like it was gonna. You thought they may win that game. It didn't happen, but like there have been so many times where I feel like Izzo has been literally right there. That it has to happen, but college basketball is dead, as we know. So maybe it doesn't.
2010, they who they lose to? Butler, right?
Yeah, I
they
think
played
so.
Butler in the.
Yeah, and that was like supposed to be a guarantee. Yeah,
like 2010 was a great opportunity because I didn't feel like the 4 teams there that year were
that
awesome.
great.
Yeah, and.
I mean, they definitely weren't. I mean, Duke won. I mean, Jesus Christ, me, you, and 3 other people we get together probably beat Duke. And that guy's the head coach. Oh my goodness! Can we mention that John Shire, my beloved, beloved Carolina Hurricanes,
dude? Is the what if of Hayward's shot still trickling? It's still it's still reverberating.
Yes.
Of the Brad Stevens. That's the Brad Stevens, John Shire, Gordon Hayward. Like all of it.
Yeah.
It's still trickling.
Gordon Hayward is Jokic right now. He's winning MVPs. He's like Larry Bird in the NBA.
Yep.
Brad Stevens has Coach K's respect by beating him in the title game, so he gets the Duke job.
So you think if Stevens wins
if Stevens wins, he gets the Duke job.
Because I think it's I guess you're right.
Because then K can't. Like, kind of how LeBron does this. Like, you can't be my enemy if you beat me. Now you have to be like what he's doing with Curry right now.
Yeah.
He's like, I love Steph Curry. You're like, wait a second. Oh, hold up. Coach K would have done that with Brad Stevens.
But would Brad have taken it is the question. Because I think
Brad took Danny Ainge. You know what I mean?
know, but
Coach
that's because
K,
Brad. I wonder if Brad wins a national title at Butler, is he like, why would I leave now? Like I like kind of a Tony Bennett Virginia situation. I think when Tony won at Virginia, locked it in. He's like, I'm not going anywhere else. Why would I?
Yeah.
I've done it. I can do it here. I'm going to stay here forever. Do you think Brad stays at Butler?
doesn't stay at Butler. I think he
Goes to
wins the
IU?
title and goes straight
Stevens
to the
to
NBA.
IU? Are you saying-
No. I think he wins the championship and immediately gets the Celtics job.
That he's on
Danny
the phone.
Ainge is calling him, and then he's with the Celtics for however many
Well, that's
years.
not a fun
and then when
what
K
if.
retires,
How
he
is that a
comes.
fun what if that you're saying? The what if for Brad Stevens is he does exactly what he did already?
No. The sliding doors moment in time is that Brad Stevens, instead of bumping up to the front office, he would have bumped down to Duke. and that would have been the same day. You know what I mean? Even though it happened on the same day, the sliding doors moment was that it was supposed to happen in conjunction. Those two events were supposed to be together.
Who was the Celtics coach before him?
Doc Rivers.
It was Doc.
Yeah, it was Doc.
He took over for Doc.
Yeah.
So were they ready to fire Doc then? I don't know. That's a lot of what ifs.
Well, they were ready to fire Doc. They were ready to fire Doc.
For Brad Stevens, you fired Doc. Oh man,
I love Doc, by the way. I'm fingers crossed for the Sixers. That's our only hope in the Eastern Conference right now. Is Joel
I saw
Embiid.
the Nets. Again, we're recording this right before the Net. They haven't started yet, right? They tip off in a couple hours here.
Yeah.
So the Nets. What do you think's gonna happen tonight? Are the people listening right now? Are the Nets up? The Nets are up 3-0, right? I think it was close. I think Giannis played really well. I saw the Bucks are like favored by 4 or something.
Yeah.
That feels Trap City betting on Brooklyn, because if I don't gamble, and if I did, I would bet the farm on Brooklyn, and that tells me that.
I'm gonna knock on wood as I say this because I did bet on the Bucks, but I believe in my heart of hearts. I believe in my heart of hearts they have to win this game. And you asked earlier,
it's a must-win. You're saying this is a must-win. You can't go down 3-0
if they lose this game, Bud is getting fired tonight.
You're saying if they go down 3-0 to one of the most talented teams in NBA history, they're in trouble.
It's over.
They're really hurting.
No. I think Bud might get fired that night. So they have to win this game. I think the thing that I am not looking forward to, I think they win tonight. I'm saying all this knowing that someone already knows what happened.
No, that's what I'm saying. Call your shot. So just say it.
I do think they win tonight, and I think we go into Game 4 and we're excited, and then they get beat down again.
I think what everyone listening to us talking right now just saw last night was that Giannis balled out. The Bucks gave it all they could, and it still wasn't enough. And the empire of player empowerment, the empire of players calling their shots, and demanding for trades, and all that, it wins again.
Yeah,
the villains win.
Yeah,
the evil empire wins out, and the Nets are up 3-0 as everyone's listening.
If KD sweeps Giannis, I mean, he is going to be on because he hate. I mean, you know what I mean. Like I know Jay Williams thing happened, but like you can just tell just the way he goes.
KD told you at the party one time how much you hated Giannis, right?
Yeah, that's right. We had
when you were recording the pod with Bill that one time, KD pulled you aside and was like, "Hey,
hey, quick story."
He said, "Don't tell anybody."
Yeah, don't go and get up and tell Mike Greenberg about this.
But
he's definitely going at Giannis, which is great for basketball. But if he sweeps them, I mean, I don't know how the Bucks respond to that because you have done everything you can other than get Bogdanovich. And what I was thinking the other day when I was watching them in Brooklyn was if Atlanta just would have just sucked like they should have and let Bogdanovich go to the Bucks, then the Bucks would have one more scoring piece.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Bucks are trying to outscore the Nets. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to outscore? You're never going to outscore Kevin Durant. Like, why don't you give them 75 possessions and milk every single Giannis?
Walk the ball up the floor.
Yeah. Giannis, just dribble there. Don't even shoot it. Just let the shot clock go off and give him the ball back.
When you get offensive rebounds, kick it out and let's milk some more.
Milk clock. That's what I'm saying.
4 corners.
Now you're talking.
When the shot clock goes off.
Now you're talking Carolina basketball. You know
when the shot clock goes off, challenge the call and say that no, the shot clock did not actually go off. We could still our ball.
Don't let Kevin Durant beat you.
But I saw today the Nets are basically a coin flip to win the title, which to me seemed insane given that there are 8 teams left, and as of this recording, they're only 2 games into the second round series.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they're
and
still,
James Harden is hurt.
And the Nets are still a coin flip. Tate. And you're saying that that even though the Jazz are were the best team record wise in the NBA all year. And I think the Jazz are the second favorites betting now, right? To win the title.
Yeah.
In your mind, it all falls on the Philadelphia 76ers
or the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
Or Jokic. It's
not
big.
Gonna be Jokic.
It's probably not going to be the Nuggets. But I think for me, it just has to be a legitimate 5, which is like Kevin Durant can't hide.
Why not the Jazz? Why not Gobert?
Because Gobert's not a legitimate
I've talked
5.
myself into the Jazz, by the way.
Gobert is the best defensive player 5 that we have, but I'm talking about someone that has to put Brook Lopez could do it. Brook Lopez has the low post ability to take Kevin Durant down the block and body him and make him work on defense and tire him out. And I would actually love to see that. But I know that Joel Embiid's going to do that. I know that DeAndre Ayton's going to do that. I know Nikola Jokic is going to do that and make them work from the 5 spot. And I don't think Blake Griffin matches up well with those guys as well as he does with Giannis. He's a great matchup for Giannis because he's big. He can match up with him size-wise, but he's not a big, our true 5. Joel, Ayton, Jokic, and Gobert. I mean, Gobert's in there.
Gobert in there.
So,
So if the Nets sign Kofi Coburn, it's a wrap.
I think LaMarcus Aldridge was like a big loss for them because they needed that kind of five. You know what I mean? Like DeAndre Jordan doesn't play. Maybe they use him if they get into a finals against Ayton and the Suns, but we'll see.
I've talked myself back into the Jazz, by the way, because after Game 1 when they lost to the Grizzlies, I remember looking you in the eye, sitting in this chair right here, and saying that it feels like the Jazz all hate each other. That was a misread. That was a misfire on my part. I think that was a that was
a Game 1 anomaly.
That was my Game 1 like overreaction. I was like, I don't think they hate each other. I think they lost the game.
I mean, I said the Grizzlies are going to win the series, so
So I've been studying the Jazz more, and it turns out when they're winning, they seem to like each other more than when they're losing. And I'm talking myself, which is a dangerous spot to be in because I have not only talked myself into the Jazz actually being NBA title not contenders, like maybe even favorites. Like the Jazz might do this, Tate. Is what I'm saying to myself when I'm falling asleep at night. The Jazz are going to do this. It's not just the Jazz. It is Mike Conley as a whole that I've talked myself into this being the year of Mike Conley. He makes the All-Star team for the first time. He wins an Oscar-ish. Some people are saying he didn't, but they're haters and they don't count.
Yes.
He did win an Oscar, right?
Yes.
He's an Oscar winner.
That's what I say. He was a producer on an Oscar-winning film.
What else do you want?
It's so facto he's an Oscar winner.
And the Olympics are coming up. And no one wants to play in these Olympics.
Nobody.
And
LeBron literally dismissed them.
Everyone's out on the Olympics. Mike Conley is going to get the call. I'm crossing my fingers that because Mike Conley will do it. His father won a gold medal in Barcelona in '92 doing triple jump.
I think Dame Lillard should do it too.
I know.
That was the other name.
I have wanted Mike to be in the Olympics forever, not just because I want Mike to.
No, but it's cool for the Conley family.
It's cool for the Conley family. I think it's great for the USA team. He's the perfect point guard.
And again, for the people at home, it's an Olympic sport.
It is. Mike's perfect, though, because he's not trying, like, on a team full of guys that are all the best players on their team and are used to taking all the shots. Mike Conley will gladly take 4 shots a game and move the ball and facilitate. Play defense.
He's actually
he's perfect. That's what I'm saying. And he always gets, like, the final call to the final training camp every Olympics that comes around.
Yeah.
And then gets cut at the last second for, like...
Well, he's been in the worst group of guard, like, as far as the talent that he's had to deal with, whether it be D. Rose and those guys early on, like Westbrook, D. Rose, Curry, John Wall. Like, he's always had, like, 5 All-Stars in front of him. So
I'm talking myself into this being the year of Mike, and he's going to win the NBA title, and then he's going to go win a gold medal, and then he's got to retire at that point, I think. That's the bad part. He's going to have to retire.
Because Marc Gasol already won one with the Raptors, so it'd be great if Gasol and Conley both get their titles separately.
Would Verno be happy for those guys? You think he would?
You have to be.
We have to be, but we're not Verno. We're not.
Hell, I'm happy for Mike. Yeah, I think he's happy.
Yeah, he is publicly, but like Verno's a.
I think deep down, he's so happy with John Moran that he's like. He's like happy for Mike because he like feels less bad about how much he loves John Moran.
I'm kidding. I love Verno. Don't everyone calm down.
Don't aggregate this.
What else do you want to talk about? Can I make a point about DeAndre Ayton?
Please.
He's playing well. You mentioned that you thought there's a chance this might be a Kofi Coburn, Cameron Krutwig situation where Jokic is just running circles around. Jokic isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he does look tired. But he always looks tired. That's the confusing thing about Jokic.
I was gonna say DeAndre Ayton. That comparison was before the series started, and it was my biggest fear. In the fact
you
that
you didn't say you thought it was gonna happen. You said I
was scared.
You were scared.
I was scared.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Jokic scares me.
And I think Chris Paul is getting a lot of love for this series, obviously. Devin Booker is going to get a lot of shine no matter what the Suns do.
Yep.
But I think DeAndre Ayton deserves, not that people aren't giving him credit, but I think like that is kind of the takeaway of this series for me so far, is that DeAndre Ayton is holding his own against Jokic in that head-to-head matchup, which is that's not how basketball works. We know that, but it kind of
is in this situation.
Ish. Yeah, and the matchup that we thought that not that we thought Ayton was bad, but like Jokic is the MVP of the league. DeAndre Ayton's a young player playing his first playoffs. Is Jokic going to run circles around him? That is not the case. DeAndre Ayton's been awesome, and I just wanted to mention that. So.
And what is every situation, when you look at the Nuggets when they've been successful, what have they had that has sort of stifled Jokic? Well, it was when Anthony Davis moved to the 5. When he played the Clippers, they didn't have a 5. They had Zubac. They couldn't even put on the floor with him. And Montrezl Harrell, they could put on the floor with him. So when you put a real traditional 5 against him, It's an actual battle. And Monty Williams is mirroring Jokic with Ayton's minutes.
Yeah.
So every time Jokic goes out, he pulls Ayton. Like that to me is why it's been fun, because Ayton is actually taking that matchup and with pride and battling. It's
you know, the other reason I like it is because everyone wants to look back on the 2018 draft and talk about Trey versus Luka because they were traded for each other. They play similar type of basketball, which is to say they both have the ball in their hands at all times and have 4 teammates just watching them do everything. So that's the natural comparison. And the Ayton Luka comparison doesn't happen quite as much, even though I think most people would agree. I would certainly even agree that I would concede this, even as I'm making the point I'm about to make, that Luka Doncic is a better player now than DeAndre Ayton and will be a better player until these two guys retire. But what is great to see about DeAndre Ayton in these playoffs so far is that I hope this brings back the idea of drafting for fit, because I think DeAndre Ayton was the right pick at number 1.
Yes.
And I think that sounds insane to say because Luka Doncic is the better player, and we have now conditioned ourselves in 2021 that you always take the best player.
Best available player.
That is how it works. The Portland Trailblazers taught us that twice. They did not take Kevin Durant over Greg Oden because they had Brandon Roy, and they thought we don't need another guy on the wing. We need a guy down low. That's what we need. They did it with Sam Bowie and Michael Jordan because they had Clyde Drexler.
Yep.
And we learned from their example, don't do that. Just take the best player every single time. If the Phoenix Suns take Luka Doncic, they're probably still pretty good.
Yeah.
They're probably, who knows, maybe they're up 2-0 on the Nuggets in the second round. But
Devin Booker would have asked for a trade already.
Devin Booker maybe doesn't sign.
Yeah.
Maybe Devin Booker gets traded. They certainly don't trade for Chris Paul. This dynamic of the Suns team, what makes the Sun team so fun, would not be there. They might be fun in a different way. They might resemble
like the Mavs.
Like the Mavs are fun, but they're not what they are. And I think, you know, if you just put a big pause on the NBA right now, and we all had to spend the next like 2 months discussing the 2018 draft, did the Suns screw up? I think the consensus would be yes, they screwed up. They should have taken Luka. Luka was the best player. You take the best player, and I think I've seen enough to say that they got it right.
No,
this is what they needed. They needed DeAndre Ayton. They needed.
You're 100% right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I want that to come back in the draft.
Yeah,
I want fit to matter. I want like guys to actually have to think about constructing a roster. This is why you love the Sixers so much, is because they're built like a traditional basketball team.
I get it.
And positions are put into, I don't know, positionless basketball's fun, and we
well,
love
it's not like they're not
whatever,
unique because Ben plays 1 through 5. I mean, they're obviously a modern version, but it's still check the boxes of what you need. And DeAndre Ayton, to me, it's like Jokic. My humble opinion, Jokic is going to be the best big, the best player in the Western Conference. So if you were the Phoenix Suns in 2018, not to say that they could prepare for MVP Jokic, but like we got the big who can match up against the best big, the best player in the West. Like, that is a win. Like even if they did a redraft today, they would take DeAndre Ayton every single time, 100 times out of 100.
And that's what I'm saying.
Bagley was the bad pick. You know, that was the
bad
pick.
Tough. That was the bad pick. But when you look back on it, it's not enough to just say who was the best player. They should have taken them first. And a lot of people are listening or disagreeing, and that's fine. But my hope is that the DeAndre Ayton example moving forward, that maybe that doesn't need to be the consensus thought. I don't think I think you should still use who's the best available as the starting point.
Yeah.
I think that should be the starting point. But the idea of drafting for fit, it seems to be a lost art or a lost practice, and hopefully it'll be back. Hopefully this, because like the Suns, if you're being honest, the Suns didn't draft DeAndre Ayton in 2018 for fit per se. They drafted him because they thought he was the best player in the draft. And then it worked out that it was actually like an awesome fit for a lot of different reasons.
And guess what? He's the third option right now.
Yeah.
And he's getting 20 and 10.
Yeah.
So even that conversation, we've already, I know we all coordinated Luka. I love Luka. I think he's incredible. But like DeAndre Ayton, the ceiling, if you want to talk in the draft terms, it's still up here.
If you gave DeAndre Ayton the ball every single time down the floor and said you have free reign
and he
to
can shoot threes
and do whatever
and he can move well, and
Yeah.
he's also learning a lot. Jokic has started this whole revolution of where the 5 starts the break, and I will not be shocked in 4 years if DeAndre Ayton's getting the rebound starting the break.
Yeah.
So I've been very impressed. You've been very impressed, and if you don't think he should be the number 1 pick, get out of my face.
Yeah, well, it's not. It was more. I wanted to voice that thought because I was thinking that as I was watching last night, that like it's so nice to see fit, because that's how the draft used to work, and that's how
Well, it made sense too when you would watch the NBA during the season. You would say, "Hey, like the Warriors when they drafted Harrison Barnes, it was like this team needs a small forward. They have this great backcourt. They have Andrew Bogut. They need a small forward. You draft Harrison Barnes, now you have your starting small forward. You know what I mean? And that made sense.
Yeah, and now if you know the I don't know, I can't if the Grizzlies somehow got the #1 pick, and I mean people would say take Cade Cunningham because he's it doesn't matter that he's
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You have Ja Morant.
will figure it out.
They'll figure it. Like take him, and maybe that is the right move. And like I said, maybe that is like the starting point. You start there, and if Cade Cunningham is so much better than everyone else, then take him and figure it out and trade one of them, do whatever. But no, I would like more. I would like to introduce discussions more of like, well, what if they take Evan Mobley and it works out better?
Dude, Penny Hardaway, Chris Webber. You know what I mean? That's a perfect example of like Shaq's like, I don't want to play with the other dude that can't pass me the ball and taking shots away from me. What? You know, like, give me the point guard.
Yeah. What else? What else we got? Is that it?
I mean, that's pretty much all I got for today.
Shout-outs?
Shout out tonight. Here's my big note when I watch the Bucks. Chris Middleton.
Tonight, what are you talking? What are you talking about?
Tonight, when the Bucks play the Nets.
Well, everyone listening, it's already happened.
Well, I'm just yelling at him right now ahead of time. Chris Middleton, come to life, please.
You're talking Game 4.
Game 4.
You're down.
The series. I want a series.
I'm saying be careful because I did this to Damian Lillard and then he went nuts and then everyone listened to it.
I'm just saying, Chris Middleton, please come to life.
All right.
That's all I'm saying. Because Chris Middleton, I do believe I've seen moments where I'm like, Chris Middleton is perfect, the #2 for Giannis. It's okay. It'll work. But in Brooklyn, I don't know what happened. The Monstars took his powers away. I don't know what went on. But back home in Milwaukee, I just hope he comes to life.
All right, come to life.
I want a series. I can't have the Nets sweep the Bucks. I really can't. For my own mental psyche, I mean, the Nets are playing great basketball. They're playing patient basketball. But for my mental psyche, I can't have it. I'm too invested in Giannis's international Jordan. I don't want him to be international Ewing.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
I need, yeah.
It's giving me international Ewing vibes, and I'm trying to get ahead of it.
It really is. This is. I'm gonna agree with you. I think this is a must win for the Bucks.
A must win. I can't even think about anything else, honestly. Game 2, I will say, going into that game, if you had come up to me in the street and said, "What will happen tonight?" I would have probably bet my life the Bucks were gonna win that game.
Yeah. And you'd
Seriously.
be dead.
And I would be dead right now. And that's why I'm looking at Chris Middleton, and I'm like, come to life.
So for Game 3, you're like, I'm not going to bet my life. I'll just bet a little money on the Bucks.
Just come to life.
The Bucks are going to lose.
I mean, probably. You're probably listening to this right now like, what an idiot.
What an idiot. What an absolute idiot.
Oh, man.
I want to shout out the College Football Playoff Committee. They are expanding to 12 teams, apparently. This is the proposal, at least. It's going to the wheels of change, as we covered at the top of the show. The wheels of change in college sports turn very slow. So it's still going to take a few years. But they are apparently proposing a 12-team playoff, Tate. College football is broken as well. Do you remember when we were growing up, and I'm making us the same age, even though I'm way older than you, but do you remember, like, before social media, I guess, were sports always broken like this?
No.
Was this like a thing?
No,
like
no,
every
no.
offseason, we looked at every single sport and we're like, this is broken, we must fix it? Because I think every single sport in this country is broken except for NFL. Every other one, the college basketball, as we know, has been broken and unwatchable forever. Baseball, no one watches it whatsoever, as every free agent signs a new record deal, but no one's watching any of it. The NBA is an absolute disaster. Ratings are in the tank. We have to fix the NBA.
Yes.
Let's figure something out to fix that. College football, the playoff is a mess because it's just Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson all the time. We have to fix that.
I feel like the BCS started this, by the way.
Everyone wants to fix everything. Has this always been the case? Or is this like a social media byproduct?
I think it started in like 2005.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Also, we have a lot more outlets to complain in general.
That's what I'm saying.
Just hear more noise.
I think it's social media is like there's just more noise of people like complaining. And
if you're the powers that be and you have people that are like coming at you, and I say that in big quotations, then they change things. And usually they change things for the worse. Let's be honest about it.
Well, I disagree. I think when the 12-team playoff gets put in, they finally have solved it and no one will complain.
Is it for this year?
No, it's what I said. It's going to be like 3 years from now or something.
Well, if it was this year and North Carolina could get in the playoff, I'm all for it.
There's supposed
not,
to be.
I'm out.
It says the 6 highest ranked conference champions will make it, and then 6 at-large bids. That's a proposal. So we can get 7 SEC teams in. Is basically.
Yeah.
I did the math there.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get 7 SEC. 7 of the 12 will be SEC teams every single year.
Yes. Arkansas finished 6-6 in the SEC, but they're in the college
in.
football playoff. Their quarterback
They're
was
9
hurt for the
seed.
first 4 games.
Yeah, they're 9 seed. Look at the strength of schedule. How
Yeah.
can you not put them in?
They beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss.
Come on. I want to shout out the first place Chicago Cubs. Wrigley
Nice.
Field will be 100% capacity on Friday. They're back. Wrigley
That's
Field's
awesome.
back. We got to go to Wrigley. We should
Yeah,
do that.
we were supposed to do that. Tommy Alter told us we had to go, so we'll go again.
I want to shout out. Says here, Coach K retiring at the end of this upcoming season. Congratulations, Coach. Hell of a run.
Yeah, you did it.
You did it. Just want to.
Did you see his little video that he put out where he was talking about this is forever? With the,
I did.
with
I
the
saw
first
that.
day
Yeah.
recruits.
Yeah. Did you see John Shire? What did he do for the Hurricanes?
Oh yeah, John Shire. The Hurricanes lost in 5 to the Lightning, to Dickie V's team.
Yeah.
Hate to see that. Love the Canes, but we brought in John Shire and Matt James from The Bachelor. So like, think about that. Those are the 2 guys they brought in to get us fired up.
What do they do? Like the ring the victory bell.
Crank
ring
the siren.
Crank the siren.
Crank the siren, and so he cranked the siren, and
Sports are so stupid.
The Lightning.
Do you guys ring the bell or do you crank? No, we crank the siren.
No,
we're not bell ringers.
We're siren guys.
We're cannon shooters. The Columbus Blue
They scored a
Jackets
minute
shoot the
after he
cannons.
cranked it. You know what I mean? You crank it to get the crowd going and everything. He cranked it, and the Lightning said, "Perfect." Who was that guy? What a loser. They scored, and a lot of Duke fans. I got a lot of texts from Duke fans that were also
bad
Hurricanes.
omen.
Yeah, they're not happy.
Your
about
first
this.
public appearance as Duke coach.
Yes. You
He's
let
cranking-
down.
you're cranking
you let
it in
down an
public?
entire arena at PNC Arena of just rabid fans. So John Shire off to a good start.
I want to shout out Greg Oden, who was supposed to come on the show today, but then it had to cancel. We're gonna get him. I'm just shouting out because we're gonna get him on the show soon.
Okay.
And I love him, and I just wanted to put that on people's radar. It's a little tease. We're gonna figure out a way to. We're gonna figure out what the hell Greg has going on because I've been texting with him recently, and it feels like he's got like 12 irons in the fire right now.
Yes.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, we were talking about on the show like what he's up to. I mean, he's got the
He's
finance
always up to
stuff.
something.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yes.
But he never. He does. It's
But he
been a
doesn't
while
tell
since
you.
he's been on the show, so we're gonna have to have him on and figure it out, suss it all out. Because people forget he is not actually retired from playing basketball. He never retired.
No, played in the Big 3.
He retired from the NBA, I believe. He
Yes.
did not retire from basketball. So is he going to TBT? Is he playing in the Big 3?
Wow.
Neither, both.
Wow.
Something else? Is he
I've
going to
heard-
Africa
I've
with J.
heard
Cole?
Overtime League. That's what a lot of
Overtime
people
league?
were saying to me.
I don't know. We got to figure it out. So we're gonna have Greg on.
Should we make
hopefully
Greg
next
make a
week.
graphic of like his like destinations?
Tips
of,
and
like,
edits?
Yeah, things that he would do. Help NBA players with their finances.
Finally, the Euros, the 2020 Euros played in 2021, start on Friday. Who you got?
Pass.
Okay, I'm Team England. I just want to go on record. I'm an English guy because
Oh,
is that good or bad to cheer for as an American to cheer for England? Are we supposed to cheer for England or
I
not?
think it's like you're a little like Stockholm syndrome. You're like pulling for the powers that be, the powers that were.
Yeah, but England sucks at like in my mind. England. I always thought of England soccer as kind of Indiana basketball in that they invented the sport. I know it was invented in Massachusetts, but come on, the state of Indiana invented basketball for all intents and purposes.
It wasn't Naismith.
And then you had to sit and like you're always good enough to talking yourself into like being able to compete, and you always come up short. And I always saw a similarity in that between England and Indiana, so I always like pulled for England. I liked Wayne Rooney a lot, so I'm cheering for England in Euros, but they're probably gonna in England fashion find a way to.
I basically every
it.
single time that any international event starts, I will. Croatia is like my favorite country, so it's like my favorite team by proxy. I love Luka Modric. You know, like
Why? Expand on that.
Well, because I went to Dubrovnik. You know, I went to Split.
Okay.
And it's
I
love the Adriatic Sea.
You like the King's Landing shots in Game of Thrones?
I mean, I do love that too. I saw it in real life. Actually, I just had a great time in Croatia, so I just fell in love. And I also loved Rakitic and I love Modric, so it was kind of like I already like these guys.
Look at you.
So like I ride with them. But
a little try hard, if I could say, but at least you have a reason. At least you've been there. Yeah.
But
what?
But as I look at this, as I look at the Euro field, I like France. Like I know that we're not supposed to like France, but I'm like a Lafayette guy, you know, because I'm from North Carolina, and like the French were really, you know, they were early on with that. I'm down with the French, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I know a lot of people wanted to have freedom fries, but I kept eating French fries, you know what I'm saying? And Mbappe is my guy, you know what I mean? PSG is my team, so like
This is the most Michael Wilbon breakdown I've ever heard. You're like, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
No. This is what I said passive first, because like it's hard to say who I'm pulling for, because like obviously Pulisic and USA I love, whatever, but the France team, I think they are the most fun team to watch. So like I'm not pulling for France per se, but I am locked in and watching France.
You should have just gone full blown American and just said I'm pulling for USA.
Are they? Yeah,
they're not in the Euros.
Say it's the Euros, right? Yeah,
doesn't matter. I only pull for USA. That's the only team. We've kicked Europe's ass before. We'll do it again. We'll find a way to win this thing. I have no doubt in my mind.
That would be the NC State answer.
Yeah, I'm pulling for England, but
England.
I don't know. That's a fun. I'm curious to see how people.
England plays Croatia in the first game, so this is me versus
really?
you. Yeah.
I'm curious to hear other people's thought process behind cheering for international teams when it's not America or not your country.
Yeah, it's where you go. I feel like you're American, it's kind of where you go or what you know. I think those are
But I can't. I've only been I've been to Canada and I've been to Mexico, and I've been to Grand Cayman, I guess, which is what.
So
it's its own thing.
Sounds like you're pulling for Mexico.
But I would never pull for Mexico. Never. You can't pull for Mexico if you're an American soccer fan.
But I'm saying it. If you want to have the best team in the Euros. Sorry.
There's your Euro coverage. All right. Have a fun weekend. Go watch the Euros.
It starts this weekend?
Yeah, it does. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I will watch it. I'll be locked in.
I'm going to be locked in.
I just don't know who to cheer for ever. So I just kind of land on England because it's like, we're kind of allies. They're kind of like us. They're
I don't know what the chant is for Croatia, but whatever that is, that's what I'm chanting right now. And also France. Shout out to France.
See you guys next week.
Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.